Croeso Nôl. Welcome to the latest episode of the Fearless in Devotion podcast, brought to you by the fine folks of the Fatball Group. All your food and drink needs, all your party needs, whatever you need, the Fatball Group can offer it. Just ask Rich Watkin. We have a full house here for the first time, I think, since I've joined the pod, although Mr. Andrew Gilpin is about to hop up after about 5 minutes. So we should get into a few quick things like the newsletter, Andy.
Oh, well, thank you for bringing this up.
What newsletter?
What newsletter? I tell you what, we are 15 weeks into a brilliant newsletter. It's
really?
Absolutely packed full of hints, tips, analysis, little asides. Me and Tim sort of bring the week together for you. It's called Wrexham is the Game. Now, it was on an introductory price. We then had to go back to its normal price of £40 a week, which is still great value. It's like 76p a week. That's the price of a Freddo. What would you rather have? Loads of Wrexham stuff or a Freddo?
You definitely just said £40 a week, by the way.
You did, yeah. To clarify, that is a year.
Sorry, that's a lot of Freddos. But good news, for the next 2 weeks, it has gone back down to its introductory price of £15. So please try and subscribe if you will. Tim, loads of good stuff in there. We had a good chat, and there's some good little snippets in this week's, wasn't there?
Plenty of snippets, all good stuff, and yeah, it's nice to put these little things out there. And a lot of people might be missing them if you hadn't subscribed. So it's quite good stuff. It's stuff that we tend probably not to put on the Fearless social media because it feels like it's a bit of a separate entity. So, but yeah, it's really enjoyable, and I never get bored about writing about kits and stuff. So it's always a good thing. So yeah, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more good stuff this week, given the result of yesterday, which I'm sure we can have a deep dive into, no doubt.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to be fan of the week, email me.
Andrew Gilpin at hotmail.com.
You all know the address.
It's almost like it's drilled in every week.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing this, and yeah, I'll come in for a quick cameo just because I've been in Poland for the weekend, and I feel you guys are probably a bit more sort of qualified to attack the Shrewsbury game. I'll tell you why. I'm not qualified to attack the Shrewsbury game, because I tried to get the iFollow, and like a big part of this Wrexham global community, none of us could get it, and it was so annoying. I was so annoyed. I was like fuming at them because there just didn't seem to be any sort of action taken. There was one tweet from the club saying, "Oh, there might be a bit of a problem." Well, yeah, there's a massive problem, and this affects Wrexham more than anyone else, just because we've got such a global audience, and for this to not work properly, it's so frustrating because we know that the club have to outsource all this to third parties. We know that's part of the EFL deal, but if there's anyone that you're going to try and get done correctly, it should be Wrexham. And it just feels that there wasn't really much urgency with this to either before the game, where a lot of people said there was problems were not showing up, or during the game where they just needed it fixed ASAP. And I just found it incredibly frustrating yesterday, and I shall be sending iFollow a shit in the post.
Brilliant. If in doubt, turd in an envelope.
He probably isn't going to be sending a turd in a box in the post, just for avoidance of doubt.
That was only a problem.
If one shows up.
I've really missed your rants when you're just a little head in the bottom of a screen in a bed set.
All right, lads. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave. I'm just an angry forehead. I'm just going to leave you guys to it because.
Oh, thank fuck for that.
Yeah, the match sounded brilliant, but I wasn't. I couldn't even see it. I was following it on Twitter like a old-fashioned 6 years ago, but
fearlessly undevoted of you, Andrew.
Can't wait for the bootlegger video to be uploaded now, Monday, Tuesday. Watch the highlights there.
All right, guys, have a good one. I'll see you soon. I'll be back next week.
Take some time off if you need to. I mean, it's fine.
Well, I'm furious. So, but I'll get over it.
We'll see.
Yeah, he's totally off to shit in a box. Anyway, we were fortunate to have watched the game either in person or through other means. Wrexham 3, Shrewsbury 0. Ollie Palmer, Elliot Lee, Jack Marriott, Liam Tim, Rhys. Where do we start with this? I mean, I guess for me, I want to start with Tom O'Connor, because I think that Tom O'Connor was just, that could well have been his best game in the Wrexham shirt. I thought it is very hyperbolic, but I said prime Franco Baresi. It's maybe that's a bit over the top. I just thought the way he marshaled things and stepped out from the back. But there was, again, another strong performance pretty much across the board. Particularly, obviously, Ollie Rathbone getting his first league start, and that did a lot for me. So, general thoughts. I guess Liam, you went on last week, so I'll come to you first on that.
Yeah, I think with Tom O'Connor for a long time, I've always sort of said, oh well, he's a really good central midfielder who just happens to be having to play at left centre back. But I think the more time's gone on, that is his position now. He is ridiculously good at it, and it's also a very big part of how we play out from the back. So yeah, I think I'm fully comfortable with the fact now that he is just a super duper left centre back, and it's quite a not a specialist position as such, but I think it is actually quite a hard place to find a decent player. I think at one point Parkinson's brought in Will Boyle there, probably not quite in the same mold, a sort of different style of defender, more physical. But I've loved Tom O'Connor from the start, whether he's midfield defender or what he is. The game in general, it just felt like we didn't necessarily get out of sort of second or third gear, but we didn't need to, because Shrewsbury in defence, every time a cross went into the box, I just thought we were going to score, because they were so open at the back. I mean, after the result last weekend they had against Leyton Orient, winning 3-0, they got that young lad in from Chelsea on loan. I was a bit like, I think you always have that thing in the back of your mind when it comes to a derby game, like, oh Christ, this could completely upset the record books. But we just didn't look. I know we let them into the game a little bit. Was at end of the first half, but overall we just looked really comfortable. Again, much more enjoyable and settled than I could have dreamed of. So long may it continue this start to the season.
Yeah, it feels almost backwards to talk about a 3-0 win against one of our rivals by talking about the defence, but Owen O'Connell as well, just another phenomenal game, marshalling things in the centre. Max was Max. Arthur had very little to do. But to come to you, Tim, I'm going to dub him the Terror Twins of George Dobson and Ollie Rathbone, just absolute menaces. How was that for you as a first league start for Ollie?
Yeah, I mean, when you pay what we paid him, we expected him to be a reasonably good player anyway. Rotherham fans were very, very upset to see him go, and he just slotted in there, no fuss, and that's the beauty of it, because Cannon again has been started the season really well. Bit of a loss with him being out injured, and Rathbone just slotted in, and we've not, like Liam said, not even got a first gear. And that midfield is without a doubt, and we can talk about the 4 clean sheets in a row and sort of hunting in packs and all that sort of stuff, and the defence being amazing. But that midfield that we've got and the interchangeability of those players, it has to be up there, one of the very best Wrexham midfields I've ever seen, just because of the way it works, and it's just relentless. I mean, Dobson is. I mean, I think you'd be hard pressed. You'd have to find a genuine Charlton fan who, honestly, hand on heart, can't say that they don't miss him, because, I mean, he's just unbelievable. He's an unbelievably good player, and he just adds a different dimension to what we've ever had before in terms of, the way he picks his passes. He's very quick on shifting the ball on. And Rathbone, again, it just adds a bit of dynamism to everything. And it just allows, again, I keep saying it allows Lee to free up to do what he does best, which is float in, edge of the box, put the goal away, which is exactly what he did. So, but yeah, we should all be delighted. Top of the league, 3-0 against that lot. And it could have been more. We probably showed him a little bit of mercy in a weird way, but it's just madness, isn't it? I mean, it's almost, I was thinking about this before, like, it's not boring to ever get to come on these pods and wax lyrical about how good we are, because we're so fortunate to be able to do it. But I genuinely can't see, like, how our performance levels dip to a point where we're ever going to get a Tonky. And I just don't see it. I don't see it, honestly. I just think there's such a strong, unified outfit. I think that comment could come back to bite me again.
Exactly. I'm
I was
thinking
gonna
that's
say,
getting
why
clipped.
did you do that? You were going so well.
No, but it's true, and I think, I mean, you need to get off the fence more than most. You're always the slight negative in any of it, but I think there's got to be a point, even for you, where you think, well, yeah, can't afford to be complacent. I understand that, but surely you've seen enough already. After 5 games to go, they could be the real deal.
I'm in a difficult situation now because this is dreamland. Unbelievable. We're clean sheeting every week, which is just insane. But I keep at some point it's going to burst. I say it's going to burst. At some point we're going to lose, and so now I'm going to have to predict a loss until we lose. Now I don't see any other alternatives. So we'll see. But yeah, it's incredible. And as I say, that clean sheet thing is the thing that stands out for me. We haven't conceded since in the league since the first game of the season.
Yep.
And for a lot of the time, we don't look like conceding. That back three now, despite the fact that Tom O'Connor, when he started the season, probably wasn't at his best. O'Connell looked a bit shaky in a couple of games. They really seem to have solidified themselves. Scar's not getting a look in. And I'm sure he will be called upon, but it is fantastic that we're able to hold people out like this. And obviously Arthur's a big part of that. Of course he is. But yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, what I was going to say was I didn't watch yesterday's games because I made my I made a long awaited return to playing rugby, so I can barely move today. In case there's any questions about why I'm stretching my neck all the time because everything hurts. But it was good to see that James Jones got on the pitch. Did he get a decent 20 minutes?
It's all right. Look, very tidy, very efficient, as he normally does. Obviously, full of running. One of those players I'd imagine gets a run out on Tuesday when we play Salford. We'll get to that in a sec. I think as well, when you look at the opposition we played so far in the league, because you want to get carried away. Then the other part is like, well, how good are those teams? Obviously, we've got a massive test coming up next in the league, Birmingham away. Again, we'll get to that. We'll be joined from one of the Blues podcast fellas. I just think Ollie Rathbone, he had the weird ability to look effortless and graceful while also simultaneously looking absolutely knackered. It just seemed like a really nice quality getting to see him just running past in the first half, and it's like, yeah, that guy looks knackered, but he's also doing things that make they just look really, really easy. And somebody else I thought that made things look easy and has done so far this season, Ryan Barnett. Now, this is somebody who before he joined us had only had 8 appearances in league football at all. Joined us in the National League, very good for us last season in League Two. Started off absolutely on fire in League One. I think it's safe to say that Ryan Barnett is definitely a League One standard player.
Yeah, isn't it ironic that probably our best attacking player at the moment, I would say, is Ryan Barnett. Obviously Dobson, there's no point arguing about player of the season 5 games in, is there? But I mean, in terms of so far, he's certainly up there, Barnett, and he's our only technically non-league signing in terms of from another non-league side. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Looking at especially the regular starters, I think looking across it.
Yeah,
I think
he's been shit hot, hasn't he? He's brilliant, and he's just absolutely loving life at the moment. And long may it continue.
Yeah. One thing I did think was maybe a little bit questionable, and we've had this topic come up in a previous game. I can't remember which one it was. James McLean getting man of the match. I thought James McLean had a very good game, but it was another one where it's like, probably there's some other people there ahead of him. I get the logic because obviously the sponsors then get to meet whoever the man of the match is. It's almost become like back in the day when it was like it was a running joke with me and some mates. Where it was like the Carlos Edwards man of the match award goes to Carlos Edwards because he'd win it every single week. So everybody wanted to meet Carlos, and he was playing out of his skin. So it was just I felt a little sorry for some of the other lads on the pitch who were probably a little more worthy of the man of the match. But McLean, another solid game, and be interested to see if he is rested on Tuesday, because of course when we rotated previously, he still played. He was the only player that still played. So that's
I think played with an injection in his foot, didn't he? Parkinson mentioned after the game.
Yeah.
So if there was ever a time to rest him, surely it's Tuesday night. I know the lad doesn't like to, but come on.
He's pretty much said he'll be rested. There's no chance of me playing. But yeah, I agree what you said about the man of the match stuff. And so it's frustrating, I guess. But they're all playing so well, and I understand why. If you pay that much money for a box, you're well entitled to choose whoever you want to meet afterwards, I suppose. So yeah. Somebody said the other week, well, now there's like guest Wi-Fi in the stadium. Should it not be to the point where we can have like an option on the app to all vote for who the player, the man of the match is? Like sort of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where you ask the audience, that kind of vibe. Not sure if that would work or not, but
I'm going to give Sean and Humphrey a heart attack here. But the other players clearly just need to make some politically controversial statements, and then people might want to sort of get them in the box afterwards.
Absolutely on that.
Maybe
It's-
maybe Tom O'Connor's got sort of some controversial view on the Lib Dems or something. Get tweeting, Tom.
Before we move on, just a quick one. Sorry, on the whole defensive solidity, etc. The only slight worry that I've got, if things keep moseying along as they are at the rate we are at the moment, then there could very well be serious offers for Max in January. I genuinely think. I know we've tied him down to a long-term contract, but when you look at his age and what he's doing, I genuinely think I would not be surprised to see bottom end sort of Premier League area kind of club thinking, right, well, let's see, let's test the metal, because nobody's left the club off their own free will. Since the takeover, that's the great thing, but it's going to happen at some point. Whether he'd stay, I don't know. It depends on the offer, depends on everything else. But and it's testament to him and the way he's learning off all these players and becoming easily the first name down on the team sheet.
Yeah, I'd agree totally. But that's a good problem to have if your players, especially your young players, playing so well that you've got a Premier League team sniffing around you. And that is the nature of the beast, but that's a problem to address if and when it rises its head. I mean, there was interest from a Championship, at least, in Tom O'Connor over the summer, bids coming in, and Tom O'Connor chose to stay. And who knows? But I think that's a question for another day on that. Also, I just want to give a shout out to Jamie Tolley, who correctly predicted 3-0 today. And Jamie Tolley, Shrewsbury, born and bred, came through the ranks there. 7 seasons in the first team, scored 2 goals against Wrexham, 2 very good goals, a diving header and a screamer at Gay Meadow in 2 separate games. Predicted that Wrexham would win 3-0. This was the Mice win, that we'll get. He's got money on us getting promoted. He's put a bet on, and that Shrewsbury will get relegated. It's like, mate, you know your audience. Yeah.
And he's still stuck with the away fans, with him, Dave Edwards, and Sam Aston. I think
was it? Because I know he's doing the comms. He was.
I think he did the radio coverage, didn't he, for BBC Shropshire?
I know Dave Edwards and Sam Aston were obviously in the away end with the Salop fans. Obviously, Aston played for us, didn't he?
Yeah. Also, Tully said that talking about like the rivalry between Wrexham and Shrewsbury, and he said that for Shrewsbury, it's like a massive rivalry. With Wrexham, not so much. But I suppose it's worth noting as well. This was the first time we beat him at home since 1996, which was Darren Brace in the 87th minute on. I think that was on a Tuesday. So it was nice to get one over on him, even if it didn't. I don't know. It was built as a derby. The atmosphere was a derby, but then the performance. I mean, this is seemingly a very poor Shrewsbury team. It just felt like, that was kind of easy. And as mentioned, I think Liam said, it wasn't really out of second gear. Yeah.
Can I ask you all how you'd feel, if this rise continues the way it's going? Because somebody asked me this the other night, last night actually. It was a long night, so lots of people came up and commented on the pod. So thank you very much for your kind comments. Somebody said, wouldn't it be strange if we keep going the way we go and we end up in the Championship? Will we not miss these derby matches? Will we not miss the Chesters, the Tranmeres, the Shrewsburys, the Crew to a certain extent? Liam shaking his head vigorously. I know what you mean.
In Cardiff, then they're bigger derbies for me. I'm the only one that matters.
And as much as we've kind of denied it previously about the Wrexham Stockport not being a legitimate rivalry, I think we said it was a competitive rivalry, and I think that will always continue the way that's happening. So I'm guessing Liam definitely would miss it. Andrew, Rhys.
I think there's a difference between derbies and rivalry. Rivalries. Like you said, there's competitive rivalries. Going back years ago, look at the Premier League, a different level. Arsenal, Man United, massitive rivals, but it's not exactly a derby, is it? And I think that's with Stockport. I don't class that as a derby, but I do class that as a rivalry these days, a competitive rivalry. That was the same in Notts County for a bit. When it comes to the derbies, you look at obviously the Jest a lot down the road in Legoland and Shrewsbury, and that's kind of. I mean, to me, even I don't necessarily see Tranmere as particularly a derby as such, because you just get to a point where you're almost pulling strings where it's like, pulling teeth, like who's the actual closest. I remember times in the dark days where like Altrincham had become a derby just because it was the closest team to us at the time in the same league we're in, on Northwich, Victoria. And it's like, I don't know.
And it's a good problem. It's a good problem to have if your rivalries, evolve. If we end up in the Championship for, and that's our, hopefully, a good base for us to be for a while and to be competitive in, after a few seasons. Those games against Stoke and Preston are going to be quite tasty. And, we'll have Swansea and Cardiff, hopefully, as well, with the added Welsh element, which we'll have missed. since Newport, of course. So yeah, I've lots to look forward to.
I need to find out if Andrew is trolling Shrewsbury fans by purposely wearing amber and blue clothing. That's an amber
No,
and
it's
blue
it's
shirt.
actually a Gary Speed
I
shirt.
know, there's definitely a bit of amber and blue. Even the shirt over it is a bit amber and blue. I just thought was it just a subliminal thing, or
in my defense, like Darius Dinesh, RIP, I am colorblind. So any fashion faux pas over the years where you think, what is he?
What a person to name drop.
Well, it fits there. Yeah, it's like
Darius Dinesh, RIP. Wow,
yeah. I mean, if you ever see me and you're thinking, what is he wearing? Then it's like that's my defense. It's just like colorblind. That's it. Means that I'm devoid of all responsibility when it comes to wearing horrendous clothes or color
Are you
combinations.
totally colorblind then?
Yeah, I just see in black and white like an Alsatian.
Wow.
No,
Like
I
a baby.
I do see colors. Just certain colors are certain shades of colors look like certain shades of other colors. That's all. I can't believe I'm just explaining the concept of color blindness here in 2024
First,
on a
Yeah,
football
but there
podcast.
are different types, aren't there?
Oh yeah, there is. Mine's like mainly like green, reds, browns, purples.
Oh
and
yes.
yeah.
So that the Wales Island rugby situation.
Oh, nightmare! Absolute nightmare.
Yeah, they're not doing it anymore. It's going to be stopped from next year. People are up in arms about it. But I think it's good to be inclusive.
It was all discovered because I used to draw color trees the wrong way around and had a green donkey when we were doing like some nativity bullshit in primary school. But anyway, that's by the by. Let's get
We've
back
gone
to
from talking about Andy shitting in a box to green donkeys. This is one of those pods in it so far.
green donkey. That sounds like some sort of comes in a box with batteries. But let's move on to welcome to Wrexham. What better way to segue from that to welcome to Wrexham, which is on the back of winning a bunch more awards. We are being joined probably in about 5 minutes by a Birmingham fan. So this is like a nice way to take up a few minutes. So obviously the documentary won 5 Primetime Emmys back in January. Now this weekend has won 4 2024 Creative Arts Emmy Awards for directing for a variety special, unstructured reality program, picture editing, and sound mixing. So I think I speak for all of us to say congratulations to the crew behind Welcome to Wrexham, and also it's again recognition for such a great job it's done of showcasing the club, but also more importantly the town and the people that make up the communities here.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds has, I've noticed, paid tribute to the Massey family as part of his sort of dedication from it, which I thought was, really nice of him. I hate the phrase classy gesture, but once again, the fact that they played such a big part, particularly in the latest season of Welcome to Wrexham, just thought that was nice of him to give them a mention, and the entire town as well, which obviously, without whom there is no documentary. So yeah, it's just nice. It's nice to see it getting that recognition, because I know, we've met the guys who do all sort of background work and that type of thing, and a lot of effort goes into it from start to finish.
Yeah. I guess we can move quickly on from that and briefly touch on, before we talk Birmingham, because obviously that's the massive game on the horizon, but it'd be remiss to skip over Tuesday's game, Football League Trophy, our first game in that tournament this season, that competition. We've got Port Vale and Wolves under 21s in our group as well, but it's Salford that we are playing on Tuesday. I guess the big talking point would be this, surely Paul Mullin starting this. Does Mo Farl get some minutes? Does he get a start? You've got Callum Burton, Lewis Brunt, Dan Scarr. We've talked about the squad, Seb Van, George Evans, maybe. I'm not sure what his situation is, James Jones. But what are we expecting from this? And what players are you looking, in terms of rotation, are you looking forward to getting a chance to see and get hopefully 90 minutes under the belt?
Yeah, I think you've said it there. You sort of, well, it's only a tenner, isn't it, to get in? So yeah. I'm thinking that's going to be quite a nice Tuesday night's entertainment for me, and hopefully a chance to get a look at some of the players who we perhaps expected to start after we signed them, but it's not sort of Parky's way. He tends to phase players in more gradually. So I'd like to see the likes of Dan Scarr. Certainly like to get a look at Mo Farl. So if it is that sort of second 11, I mean, it's just ridiculous, really, when you look at the bench, look at the potential second 11 we've got. So yeah, I'm not too bothered about how we do in this tournament, if I'm completely honest. I mean, I always want Wrexham to win, but for me, it would be a nice opportunity if we can get to see some of those players who we haven't really had a chance to see as yet.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think looking forward to seeing, because I thought Burton did really well at Sheffield United. Could have been a lot worse had it not been for him. So I think he's probably going to get some minutes. Foul, 100% will be involved. You'd think Scarr will start. Bolton kind of almost cast into the
Yeah.
wilderness a little bit. So I think it's a big opportunity for him again to have another stab at impressing against his former club. Because the last time he did it, obviously didn't quite work out at that game. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what I'm always intrigued to see what sort of crowds we'll pull for these ones, because it's been fairly encouraging last season. It gives a lot of people who are unable to attend, who haven't got season tickets, etc., or unlucky in the ticket ballots to take people down. And I'm sure it'll be busy. The kids are back in school now. I'm sure like various parents will feverishly trying to take them along to keep them all nice and calm. So it'll be good.
Tim, quickly, if Mo Farah comes on, what is the chant? Have you decided what you're going to go with?
No, I mean I like the Billy Idol one, to be honest. That was a laugh, but nobody's going to go with it. I mean, all my ones are a little bit, wacky. Like nobody's ever going to do them.
I
But
thought you were gonna say shit. To be
no,
honest,
shit, no, that's shit as well. But
Yeah,
some
but the Okonkwo Tequila song is done.
it did. That was great. That's a
I didn't
cracker.
do that though. That wasn't me.
Oh.
I take zero credit for that one. People
Well,
be
you took
saying,
credit
yeah,
for it
yeah,
in the
that-
pod. I'm sure you did.
I didn't take credit for it on the pod. Oh, no chance.
Oh, well, it was
Absolutely
part of the Book of Okonkwo offering.
I was vehemently against that chant, and then I just thought, you can't beat him, join him. So you just get on with it. So yeah, I'm enjoying the George Dobson chant at the moment, and I've purposely added a second verse to it. I've suggested a second verse to it. So maybe that's one that people can, because that was sang yesterday to "She's Electric" by Oasis, so that was nice.
Anyways, it is time for our guest, Andrew, who I think
We are
is
here.
shortly joining us from the waiting room.
Okie
hope.
dokie, come on down. The price is right.
Come on down.
Oh, that's a serious bit of kit in the.
Hello.
Hello, Sam.
Hey.
This is Sam Shepley from the Blues Focus podcast. Cheers for giving us some time on your Sunday evening to come and join us to talk a mammoth game in a week tomorrow. Wrexham at Birmingham. How's the season gone so far for you? Because obviously you've in fourth place, only 3 points behind us with a game in hand. Are you fairly happy with the start that the Blues have had so far?
Yeah, good evening, guys. And I think so far it's been probably about as good a start as we could have expected, with all the eyes on us and a lot of pressure, obviously with the amount of money we spent in the transfer window, which I'm sure you guys are going to get onto. But yeah, in terms of our start this season, it's been pretty good. 4 wins and 1 draw, and that opening day draw against Reading, there was a little bit of nerves afterwards because it took us a while to get that goal from Alfie May. But then we've seen a lot of positives in the games we've had since, where we've been scoring a lot of goals, not really been letting a whole mount in, but yet to really keep that clean sheet. That's a real statement for us. So I still think there's a lot to work on, but so far so pretty good, really, because of the fact that, as you said, 4th place and 3 points behind you guys. So yeah, not a bad start.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was just from looking from the outside in, it seemed like a bit of a farce last year, the way things were handled with the manager situation with John Eustace and just how things developed with that. How's Chris Davis settling in?
Yeah, he's doing all right so far, Chris Davis. Someone that's coming with a lot of, I guess, experience working under a more experienced manager, where at Celtic and Leicester, at Tottenham, he was with Brendan Rodgers and then Ange Postecoglou. So someone that's been around top managers, but not really had the managerial role himself yet. So this is his first, I guess, stint in charge, being the main man. And he's done pretty well so far. I think it's going to be a challenge to turn around the style of football that we play with, because it tends to be at Birmingham, the managers that succeed, it's very much a 4-4-2 style of football, but now we've got a 4-2-3-1 with a lot of pressing and keeping possession. I mean, you see by the possessional stats in League One so far, I think we averaged the most possession in the league, most passes completed. So he's done well turning that around, and the fans are being patient with that as well, because they recognise that what he's trying to do is probably going to take some time. And with a lot of new players in the transfer window and trying to get all them bodies through the door and make them feel comfortable in the way that we're playing, I'd say he's done pretty good so far. He's a very likable guy as well, comes across really well in his interviews that he does with the club. And yeah, I feel like he's a good pair of hands to try and get us out of this league and onto the next step that the board feels necessary.
I mean, you should know by now, possession is not important. Give us 30% of possession, and we'll be happy, mate. It's fine. But how do you make of the money that's been spent? Because around about 25 million in total, depending on where you read, between 15 and 20 just for Jay Stansfield, who obviously did very well for you previously. Were you surprised to see that amount of money being spent, or was it you always thought they were just going to go hard at it because it's right? Let's just get bounced straight back to the championship.
I mean, I've never seen a transfer window like it at Birmingham, and the fact that we spent this much money, and yet it's the first season we've been in League One for 30 years. So they're certainly no cutting back with these guys, and they really are making signings of intent, such as Jay Stansfield, and they just wouldn't let it go because we had rejected bids from Fulham, but they were bidding right up to the 11th hour trying to get the deal over the line, as that's the person they wanted to kind of front their project because of the fact that he was such a likable character for us last season. Winning 5 awards at the end of season awards really tells you what you need to know about Stansfield impact at the club, and happy to see him come through the door, as well as, well, a whole load of names. I mean, 2 new goalkeepers, new fullbacks, and a lot of midfield options as well. So it was a pretty hectic transfer window, a lot of new people, as I said, and I think the Walsall game we played on Tuesday really highlighted that there's still a long way to go with this team. And it's all about, the players getting in the right positions. I mean, we saw the Walsall game. They had very limited possession, as we'll get on to. I mean, they had about 21% possession in the game, and yet they still managed to cause us so many problems. So having the ball is only some of it. The other half of it is just trying to put the ball in the back of the net and that final pass, which we seem to be struggling with at the moment. But with the transfer window we've had and the personnel we've brought in, I'm sure that will come eventually.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really take any particular moral high ground in terms of spending lots of money comparative to the rest of the division that you're in. But I mean, to you, is it like, is that sort of transfer in League One? Obviously, you've got higher aspirations, but is that justifiable, really, that the finances for Jay Stansfield?
There's a lot of conversation about this, isn't there? Whether it's fair or not, and are we going to get round FFP rules, and all the conversations about that. And what I said before is that we've been done by FFP in years gone by, and that was because of the ownership we had then with Trillion Trophy Asia and BSHL, and when we had Harry Redknapp as a manager years ago, and just really blew the budget and wasn't really measured in the way that he was doing it. So I feel with these new guys, Knighthead Capital, they would know what would be feasible in this league and what they'll be able to kind of get away with as such, in terms of how much money's come into the club through sponsorship and all other brand deals that we've got going at the moment. And I suppose as well, the gates at St Andrews now are massive. I mean, the Wrexham game is sure to be a sellout, and every home game we've had so far in the league's been a sellout. So the whole sort of club is going in the right direction, and they're putting in the money. But there is obviously that question in the back of our minds: is we're going to get done for this? Because we've seen it before with other regimes where we got deducted points and it's led to kind of a downward spiral. But I think with Knighthead Capital and their knowledge of the rules and a bit more know-how in the hierarchy, would be able to, get around the position that we were in before.
Good. Yeah, I don't want to take too much of this. If anybody else got any questions or discussion points, dive on in.
Sam, first and foremost, welcome. Secondly, my best mate is from Solihull. She definitely does not sound like you. So where has that accent come from?
Well, it's my dad's side of the family that live in Birmingham. He grew up in Birmingham, and I'm from a place called Ware in Hertfordshire. So it's about 2.5 hours from Birmingham. But I mean, I still go to plenty of games. I mean, this season especially, because in League One there's actually a lot more away grounds that are nearer to where I live. I mean, already up into Leyton Orient, Wickham, which is near where I live, and you've got the likes of Reading, Peterborough, Stevenage, Crawley. So it's all teams that we're not familiar with, but yet closer to me. So I'm definitely going to a lot of Blues games this season, and I do get asked that question a lot, Tim. So not unfamiliar with that.
Give us an idea of obviously there is some similarity and common ground in terms of the American ownership, American Canadian in brackets for us, and you guys with Tom Brady and so on and so forth. When that happened, what was the general feel? And I mean, what is, I suppose the question is twofold. What is your take on how our ownership model has unfolded? Obviously, it's come with success, but when you look at that and you've had the similar takeover yourself, is there elements of thinking, well, are they going to follow similar suit? How does your ownership model change from ours, and are there more similarities than we maybe realize?
I think there's a lot of similarities when it comes to Birmingham Wrexham. I mean, for starters, in League One, our two clubs are probably the most hated clubs in the league, not going to lie. So, obviously there's a lot of media attention as well. And we saw as soon as, Knighthead Capital came in, there was that bit of a media attention because these guys are Americans, they've got a lot of money. But then it was really when Tom Brady became chairman of the advisory board that we really started to see the mainstream outlets pick up on what was happening at Birmingham. And obviously with you guys, with who you've got in charge of you, that elevates you straight away in the media, and everybody all of a sudden wants to know what your scores are, how you're doing, and then also poke fun of you when things aren't going your way as well, and say all that money for nothing. So I'm sure there's a lot of sort of high profile stuff that's happened with you guys in terms of who's involved with you, and people that perhaps hadn't messaged you in years talking about your club, all of a sudden then speaking about Birmingham. And we saw that last season, I mean, with the Wayne Rooney appointment that really didn't go to plan, and it was a big name. We were being featured on Sky Sports most weeks, but it really did backfire for us, and I suppose that's one of the reasons why we're in this league at the moment. But Birmingham and Wrexham do definitely parallel, and I think we'll see a lot of that in the build up to the game next week.
Can the obviously the squad that Davis is assembled? I mean, I suppose from our point of view, we're thinking, well, have they had time to gel? Are they? Is that still going to be a work in progress? So I'm just trying to get. You obviously know the players, what sort of pressure they're under, to succeed for a club the size of Birmingham. But I would probably suggest that it's very much a case of it's promotion first season or not. That is the ultimate goal. People are saying, well, if they don't win this by some distance, then it'll be a massive abject failure. Can these players carry that additional pressure? Because from our point of view, we're delighted that Birmingham are in this division because it takes the pressure off us. Because we were the supposed big fish in the smaller pond then. That's very much not the case now at all. And we're just going about our business, trundling along nicely, while other teams like yours have that spotlight and have that pressure to perform.
It's an expectation and the pressure that I haven't seen in Birmingham in a very long time. And it's gone from we have to be promoted to now we have to win the league because of how much money we spent on Jay Stansfield. And it's that elevated pressure, which I think the fan base is on board with, and the fact that, as I said earlier, they're still being patient. But I think it will get to a point that if we go on a run in the league where we're 4 or 5 games without a win, that the fans are going to really start to, voice their anger and their issues with what's happening with the team. Because as much as we're doing the pass around the back stuff at the moment, slow build up, if you're not winning games and you're getting points taken off of you, then all of a sudden that pressure is going to be cranked up. So I think at Birmingham, it's a pressure, as I said, that haven't really seen before. And I guess with the style of play of League One, with some of the other teams that have come to face us at St Andrews, a lot of Birmingham fans thought that if teams come to St Andrews would sort of sit back and we could have a lot of the ball, press them a lot. But a lot of teams aren't that scared of us, to be honest. I mean, the Reading game, for starters, I thought they were probably the better team in the 90 minutes, and they really did go after us. And Ruben Sellers did really put on a tactical masterclass that game against us, and we were lucky to get a point. But I think that, as you said, I'd say we are a big fish in a small pond, but people aren't that scared of us because of the fact that we were relegated last year, and there is a lot of personnel at the club that was there last season. But there's got to be that change in mindset that we have got to try and win every week. And you look at Alfie May, he done an interview recently on TalkSport saying that winning the league is the absolute minimum. So that's the mindset of the players, and I think that's definitely the mindset of the fans now as well.
Does that help when you hear players say that? Because I can understand him saying that, but by the same token, does he go, oh, Christ, he's really putting it on. He's putting it on themselves, which is an internal pressure, I guess. But when you hear players like that, obviously it gives the fans a bonus and a big boost, especially all the stuff you've had in recent years. But do you hear that and go, oh, is it like a proceed with caution kind of feel to it?
That was my first reaction, actually, but that was kind of a reaction that I didn't put out on social media because I didn't want people jumping on me going, I can't believe you don't think we're going to win the league. But yeah, it's one of the things where if you say something like that, you have to go and back it up. And so far, Alfie May this season, he scored 4 goals in League One. And he has looked really good. Whether his position now is going to change because Jay Stansfield's here as well. And it's that whole dilemma of, can you put 2 people that are very good in the same position in the same team? But that's a dilemma that is a good dilemma to have because they're both good players, but one that will ever to be fall out throughout the whole of the season, where it's that thing of, can you start all these good players in one team, or is there going to have to be some unhappy people on the bench? And you don't want that unrest, do you, in the team? You want everybody to know their roles. And I think with a lot of the people that have joined us, they'd be expecting to start, but not everybody can start in the team.
So I was going to say, if winning the league is the minimum, what's the maximum? You're going to win the FA Cup as well?
Well, maximum, I think the last time we were in League One, we done the League and Cup double with the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, it's called now. So I think that's the maximum, really, the League and Cup double for that, which we had Barry Fry in charge for then. And people that know Barry Fry, he's very much a character. And if we get that sort of charisma from Davis, it's going to be an interesting season.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting. You can have the Bristol Street Motors. We're not. We've already decided we're not that fussed on it. We haven't even played it yet. It's Tuesday's game. So, just last one from me before I let the other guys speak. Just touching quickly before we go into in a bit more on on the game on Monday. I mean, from our point of view, we go into it obviously in very good form. To go into a massive crunch game, which is almost certainly the biggest test of the season so far, at this stage, because of our performance levels, because of the obviously going top is great and everything else. I think is there an element? I mean, it's great to have confidence amongst the fan base, but I've seen a couple of comments where they're saying, "Look, we've got to take Wrexham seriously, because if we don't, then you can come unstuck." And is that by virtue of just the way we've started? And I think, had we maybe only picked up 6 or 7 points, there might be a little less confidence from our point and more from you. But is there an element of that amongst the fans, or is it very much a case of, well, it'll be fine, we'll just crack on and do what we need to do?
Well, I think a lot of fans are taking League One seriously in the fact that the margins we've won by so far have not been that convincing. It's been the odd goal that we've won by, and especially the start that Wrexham have had. You guys top of the league and also kept 4 clean sheets in a row in the league. So our problem a little bit is finding that final touch or that final finish for a goal, and especially with your guys' defensive record at the moment, that is going to present its own problems. So I'm really expecting it to be an even encounter, and I don't think there are many Birmingham fans that are going to be going into that game thinking, yeah, we're going to win 3-0, 4-0, because you guys have also got the momentum from your last promotion. And also as well, I mean, there were some people at the start of the season saying that, I don't know what you guys think, but like when Wrexham got promoted, there were some people saying that perhaps it's going to come a bit too soon for you guys to be challenging up the top. But so far, so good for you guys. And as the season plays out, it may be that squad depth could arise, for us as a favour, because we've got so many players in our team, and maybe other League One players don't have that depth that we have. But so far, for a game early on this season, it's going to be a feisty encounter, put it that way.
100%.
Sam, I know you're not necessarily sort of local to Birmingham, but are there any sort of advice you'd give to Wrexham fans who are going on an away day there?
Well, I mean, given the kickoff time and the day it is, it's like a Monday 8 o'clock. So I don't know how long it take for you guys to get up there, but I mean, yeah, there's plenty of pubs around the place, like the Fountain. Definitely go in there if you arrive there. It's like literally right around the corner from the ground. 10 minutes before kickoff, shoot Ralph around there, and you'll be fine. And also with Birmingham now, we're doing a lot more around the ground to get people into the sort of stadium and around the stadium more in advance for kickoff time. So some of the stalls they have around there, different food and drink, local places, I definitely say to check that out, because that's something that the new board have done to encourage more Blues fans and other fans as well, just to stay around the area for the time. So I definitely encourage checking out some of them places.
What sort of atmosphere can we expect? I mean, it's been a long time for any of us since we've been to St Andrews. So what sort of atmosphere can we expect these days?
I reckon it would be a good atmosphere. As I said, the home games this season, the league, we've sold out all of them. And I don't know if you've seen the last minute celebrations to our goal against Wigan, but the fans are definitely back on side with the team. And it's been a long time since we've been able to say that. So I expect it to be a really good atmosphere. I'm sure you all are going to bring a good atmosphere as well. And I'm really looking forward to the game, because I feel like the feel-good factor is back around the club. And when the fans are up for it, St Andrews can be a real tough place for teams to go. And I just hope that the fans create that atmosphere, the hostility that's been lacking from St Andrews in the last few years. And yeah, we'll see how the game goes.
It sounds almost like weird to say, but 'cause obviously you've been relegated to League One, but it feels in some ways it's not a bad time to be a Birmingham fan in terms of the ownership. There's a lot of positivity. You're winning games, even if it is in League One. Is that the general vibe, that everybody's just kind of a bit more on board with the project rather than just being, obviously the craziness of last season and I guess the season before that even as well?
Yeah, because if we would have got relegated under the previous ownership, BSHL, we would have been screwed, because them guys are really running the club day to day, not looking after it, kind of doing the bare minimum to get by. Whereas with Knighthead, although we have been relegated, and part of that is because of the decisions they've made with managerial situation and everything, but what they're doing for the community and rejuvenating the stadium and the plans they've got for the future, the fans are really buying to it, because it's optimism that we haven't seen in such a long time. And I feel like it was just good people that made bad choices last season with what happened on the pitch, but everyone's behind them. And as I said before, that feel-good factor, it really does play out into the stadium, and we'll see plenty of noise. I mean, lots of tickets sold already. I think there's, less than 100 to go. So we have been relegated, but I just hope that we come back next season as a stronger entity, regardless of what division we're in. I mean, hopefully it's the Championship, because of the amount of money we spent, and who knows what rules could come into play after that.
Who's the key man for you, Sam? I'm sure there's plenty you can pick from. Who's the key man, and is there any obvious weakness that you think Wrexham should look to exploit?
I'll start with that point actually, because it's kind of similar to what I said earlier, in the fact that we haven't really kept a proper clean sheet this season because we've just been leaking goals here and there, and they've kind of been down to individual errors. And two of the goals we conceded, I mean, the one against Wigan, it's gone straight through Peacock Farrell's arms, and then Leighton Orient, it's from him playing out from the back and giving the ball away. And there were some people saying that Ryan Allsop should come into the team, so I'm not sure how Peacock Farrell's feeling at the moment. Maybe he's a bit cagey, so it's kind of just really testing the keeper, because at the moment he's been not that convincing, still pretty good, but I mean, there is a bit of competition with him and Allsop. And in terms of the player to look out for us, the best signing for us so far has been Mark Leonard. I think he's been brilliant in the team. Joined from Northampton last season, where he was playing League One football, and he's been a really consistent figure in the midfield for us, because a problem for so long at Birmingham is that we hadn't had a centre midfielder that was composed with the ball and could properly keep it, because as I said earlier, it was very much a 4-4-2 system at Birmingham. We just had your battlers in the centre midfield, but Mark Leonard just brings a different kind of class that we haven't seen in such a long time. And with us trying to do this passing stuff, keeping possession, he's really tidy on the ball. So if you can stifle Mark Leonard, then you've got a good chance of winning. But on his day, he's just a superb passer of the ball. His movement's amazing as well.
I think we were in for him. I'm sure he was rumoured to.
Yes, yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, so Leonard versus Dobson will be an interesting.
That's the battle, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. Rhys sitting silently. Go.
I was going to say, should we do predictions? I'm buzzing for this one now. I'm actually going to be in a pub in Abu Dhabi. If any Abu Dhabi Reds are listening to them, recommend a pub that I'll be able to watch the game at, I'd be very grateful. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Wi-Fi is going to be better in the pub.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Right.
Andrew, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm going to go cheeky 2-1 win for the town. I mean, I'm something we could probably talk about a bit later on before we wrap things up properly. But I probably would take a point there, obviously. But I'm going 2-1 the town.
Oof.
I'll go next. As I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I feel like I have to predict a loss now every week until we lose, because I have been. So if it's going to be one, it has to be this one. I know I said that about Peterborough, and we went and talked them 2-0. But I'm going to say 1-0 to Birmingham. But I think it'll be a tight one. There won't be much in it. I could easily see there being another 0-0. But this is going all far too well at the moment, and surely it can't go on.
Doom and gloom, bring it on.
Oof, dear me, yeah. Go on, Liam.
I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, just so we've got a bit of a variety. I don't see this one as a free hit in that. I wouldn't exactly be happy if we lost, but I think a point or 3 points is decent for us. So I'd settle for a 1-1 draw, so I'll go for that.
Oh, I'm enthused by the fact you've got a dodgy goalkeeper. So I'm providing Peacock Farrell stays between the sticks. That could be great. Just pepper the goal. We seem to be a lot better at set pieces this year, corners and everything. Especially corners. We were dreadful last year at times. So I am. Dodgy keeper tells me it's going to be 3-1 to us, but it's just not. No. I just think, as great as we have been at home, and I imagine that will continue. I think as long as you don't lose on the road, it'll be fine. So I think it'll be. Strangely, I think it's going to be a goalless draw. It'll be similar to Bolton, it'll be an entertaining one, but I think it'll be a goalless one. So I'll go 0-0. I'll quite happily take that.
Go on, Sam. Do your worst.
Well, listening to what all you guys have got to say and what I said earlier, I'm actually going to agree with Liam. I'm going to say 1-1 draw, because I think with our attack, I think we can score against anybody in the league, but I'm still worried about the defence. So I'm not going to predict a clean sheet, but I'd also predict us to score. So 1-1 draw for me.
There we are. Most of us. Andrew's gone full gung-ho. He's having it 2-1. I mean,
2-1's not massively gung-ho. It's not like I've gone, we're going to tank him 4-0. I'm just going, we're going to get a cheeky... Again, I'm going to keep reiterating it until it kind of happens. Ollie Palmer's bell end, 90th minute, 2-1. Running off.
And that is the first time I've heard you say that.
Oh, is it? Oh, you've been lucky. You've been lucky. I don't know why I'm trying to manifest this. It wasn't something I particularly wanted to manifest, but it's going to happen at some point. Everybody always talks about goals off arseholes to win games. Yeah, it's going to happen at some point. I think maybe it's Monday night. Well, a week on Monday.
You know what? And like everybody's going, enjoy it. It's going to be a great occasion. You know,
Yeah.
there's only 2,200 tickets. I was lucky enough to get one. And yeah, if you've not been before, it's amazing. I think there's might be a few of us that have been in the past. It's just a really, it's a really solid ground. You know, big city, second biggest city, in England. So yeah, let's enjoy it. I know that there was some talk that if you park in and around the ground, that it may be stripped for parts. There's a lot of talk about that. So if you are parking in and around the ground, just be careful, or at least do a bit of reading.
To be honest, it's carnage if you park. I wouldn't recommend parking near to the ground. They've still got to sort that out.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But yeah, I think as an occasion, it'd be very interesting. That's the reason it's been selected for TV. Monday night is not great for those traveling, especially train. Can't get a late train back, but I think it'll be some spectacle. This is what we've been working towards for so long. You know, another big game, another big test, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So it should be a good one. And I think that's everything, isn't it? What else should we talk about? Barry Horn, Brian Hughes, all those kind of like little sort of Birmingham links.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a hell of an atmosphere there. I'm very jealous of people who are going. As I mentioned, any Abu Dhabi Reds, do hit me up. I'll be in the whatever your best pub is. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening, Andrew. That's it, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, unless you wanted to talk a little bit about Wales, I don't know. We're going to skip over that and possibly, I don't know if Sam wanted to
there on
get
Friday,
this way,
Tim?
I went. Sammy, welcome.
Yeah, same.
But we're going to
played well, I thought.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was weird. It was weird because I don't know what it was. It was a bit of a flat atmosphere in Cardiff before the game. It was okay in the ground. I think new regime. Nobody really knows what to expect. Everybody was a bit beleaguered because of the Rob Page sort of days just kind of like faded into nothing really. So I don't think anybody was expecting there to be such an impact at that stage. Like 4 or 5 days on the training ground with the players. So yeah, to dominate a team like Turkey and almost nick it, and for him to come out afterwards and say that'll be the worst that we'll get, he's again putting some serious pressure onto his players there. But yeah, it augurs well. It'll be very interesting to see how we get on against Montenegro. So yeah, that's the next game, and it needed freshening up. That's what we've got. There is strong calls again. Oh, Mullin would have scored this, that, and the other. And I was one of those people in the past who were like, I love Mullin to play for Wales, and I would have done. But I think it's enough time has passed now for us to maybe think about different scenarios and other situations. As much as I'd love to see him get a call up, I think probably almost maybe that ship has sailed.
Yeah, I did see there
I was in the posh seats. Go on, Andrew.
Oh, I was going to say that, yeah, there was some comments I saw from Wrexham fans online, which is always fun, about like having a genuinely being in uproar that Mullin wasn't called up this time. And it's like, he's played what, like at that point in time, he played like what, 2 10-minute, 15-minute cameo appearances after having spinal surgery. It's like, hopefully it happens.
He is rusty as well. You can see it still.
Yeah. So. I mean, there's lots of will in there, but he is rusty. There was a couple of chances actually at the weekend where you thought, if he was a few games into that where he's been starting games, he'd be scoring those chances. But yeah, the fact that like he's just come off spinal surgery, that I think it was at that point, that 2 15-minute runouts, 20-minute runouts, and then this is like genuine like unbelievability that he's not been called up for the Wales team for the first time ever. It's like, if that happens, it'll happen. But it's not going to happen in this situation right now. Maybe for the next squads or the next squads after that. Anyway, sorry, Rhys, I cut you off there.
No, I was just gonna say I was in the posh seats. Food was good, and the security guy in there was Andrew from the Traitors. So a great evening was had by all.
The big massive fella,
the big massive Welsh bloke who nearly won.
Oh, I liked him. How posh were these posh seats though? Were they like plush seats themselves, or were they just your normal plastic backed?
No, they were just normal plastic number. Unfortunately, I was really annoyed about that. Yeah, and the weather was absolutely diabolical. I'm sure Tim will attest. I've never been as drenched as I was.
I left Wrexham in shorts and a t-shirt. It was 26 degrees. Right, I got to Cardiff, and my mate said, "Oh, you brought a raincoat." I was like, "Why?" He said, "It's raining sideways here." They were his words.
It was thunderstorms. It was horrendous.
It was so bad. But yeah, there we are. Wrexham are top of League One, and Wales are playing like Brazil. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Well, I've had worse.
Anyway, that's enough of a subjecting to Wales chat, Sam. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. As always, who are we sponsored by?
The Fat Ball Group. Check out the My Square, the Fat Ball, Hill Street Social. Croyce Howell, Effie's cocktail bar, the Carnivore, the Buck, and probably some other place by the time this has been put out to the public, because Rich Watkin is an eager beaver. But yes, thank you to the sponsor for all of those places. And I still think I've missed somewhere. Fat Boy Mold as well. There we are.
Yeah, we are.
There we go. Bye, everyone.
Cheers,
See you next
everyone.
week.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.